What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we are diving into a brand new series that I've been really excited for, looking forward to. We just watched it yesterday. It just came out yesterday, and we're really excited to dive into it today. We are talking about Dune Prophecy on Max, Episode 1. Brother, what did you think?
I'm confused as all fuck.
Which would make sense because this is not necessarily a universe that you have dove deeply into the lore or the canon or the books, but you have really enjoyed the movies here recently. And so I didn't have to twist your arm too much like Bad Monkey to get you to come into this one.
No, not at all. This one, I like the universe for the modern take of it. I haven't seen the old stuff, and I'm not big on watching old stuff when it feels like the technology is lagging from where we're at for graphics or visuals and stuff like that.
It wasn't visually stunning by any means, but I mean, it was cool.
And so for this, the visuals are cool, but I feel like I'm lost, and I'm not sure if you're supposed to feel like overwhelmed from this first episode.
I mean, they're laying a heavy backstory, right? And so for anyone who doesn't understand what the Bene Gesserit order is, where they came from, what their master plan was, how Paul Atreides, because we get introduced to the Atreides as Paul when Paul is, basically almost grown, right? Mm-hmm. So by the time that we're introduced, the Bene Gesserit have already established this thing for over 10,000 years. We just recently learned that the Harkonnen and the Atreides beef has been going on for over 10,000 years, which makes sense why all the things that happen in the movies that we've seen have happened. But I don't think necessarily it's meant to be overwhelm or confusion. It's laying out a lot in a very short period of time, and I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that HBO and the showrunners for this show are gonna have to deal with. This is a really dense backstory, and they're gonna have to lay it out in a very short period of time. And for people who have no previous knowledge, that's gonna be all order to keep that all, in check. So if they don't know about it, they should tune into this episode and every episode that we do on this playlist for Dune Prophecy, because we will be breaking it down and helping you guys understand what is going on.
Oh, he'll do that part. I'm gonna lay the confusion parts.
Well, you'll ask the question.
So for me, last night I watched it. I'm like, good. I feel like I haven't seen this. And by the time I was done, okay, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. So I watched it again this morning.
Yeah.
And I still am very fucking lost.
Okay. Let's dive into it. Let's pick it apart.
So it was slow as shit. I'm still not, my brain has not established who the main players are in this yet.
Okay.
There are so many women in all the black, and their features are very similar because no makeup, that kind of stuff, right? And I'm just I'm trying to remember which face belongs to which character, but they're all the same.
So you probably would suck at a convent then, because they're also all dressed the same. But anyway, the Bene Gesserit are run, but it's the main people that we're going to be following and going with the Bene Gesserit order are going to be the Harkonnen sisters. Right? So you see them when they're younger, and then you also see them when they're a little bit older, when we move 30 years into the future. She's the one that gets called into the Mother Superior's room there, and when she passes on, she passes the role to her. Vanya Harkonnen. I'm not good with the first name right now, is the main character for that.
Yeah, we have to establish a connection to the characters to be able to remember their names and who they are quite yet, and it's a little early for that from yet.
So she's like the main orchestrator. She's the leader of the Bene Gesserit, that when we jump 30 years in the future, she's the person in control.
But she also killed
the Grand Order.
Yeah.
She uses the voice to have her kill herself, which is
he killed.
That was a cool throwback, right? Because in
throwback, this is the throwback.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It paid homage to the movies.
Okay.
Because in the movies, one of the very first things, especially in the brand new ones that we see, is Jessica and Paul in his teenage years, using the voice with Jessica, learning to do that, right? And then we, as the viewer now, in the very opening scenes of the new series, get to see the origins of the voice. She literally says, yeah, that's a new thing I've been working on. I was going to share it with you. She originated it. So that was really cool that new ability comes from.
So much, I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah. That ability comes from the woman who ends up killing her with it. Vanya. I'm going to look it up. Vanya Harkonnen. I still can't pronounce it if I even look at it. But go ahead. Valia and Tula are the sisters.
So this has been really slow and like just a massive brain dump of information as we're seeing. What is that? The king dude who's marrying off the kid that's being
The Emperor?
yeah. The one that's got the Asian one controlling him.
Kesha? Or Kasha? You're talking about the Truthsayer.
Yeah.
The woman, one of the Bene Gesserit,
Yes.
who is controlling him.
Yeah.
I don't think yeah, she's manipulating him based on the grand plan. Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
That's when we're fighting.
I think she kind of broke role a little bit and kind of started feeling for that family, right? Which is one of the reasons why I think she acted the kind of the way she did towards the end there.
Yeah? What do you mean?
When she ends up leaving and going back to the Bene Gesserit order to try to protect the daughter, that's against the plan, right? That's not part of the plan. And I think she started to have a love for that family, which kind of swayed her to do something maybe she wouldn't have normally done.
All right. I guess I could kind of see that. I'm still not, like I said, I'm still not fully there with all the characters and all this freaking information. I haven't even had time to fully digest it.
So if you think about the Bene Gesserit, they're called witches, they're called a lot of different things, but really what they are a network of spies, right? And so they have their secret language that they do with their hands. They have all this like different spy networks and different ways of speaking to each other without anybody knowing. So they're basically like spies for the unit, like their thing. And they all get placed in these major houses and different like places of power around the universe and are slowly but surely like sinking their nails in and taking over and getting control of everything because of that. And so like their grand plan is to have these people in places and then breed the leaders so that they can control them and manipulate them so that they control everything. So now they even want ultimately to have one of their people sit as Empress of the universe. Right, so their main plan is control, but their main tool of doing that is a network of spies, and they're called Truthsayers, and they're all Bene Gesserit.
So the Bene Gesserit remind me very much of a hybrid of the Faceless and the King of Whispers or whatever it is from Game of Thrones. The
Geyser of Whispers.
yeah. It's like a cross between those two is how
The Faceless Assassins are so dope.
me. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Like it's a combination of those two is exactly what the Bene Gesserit are.
Yeah, I mean, when you look in the world of fantasy, a lot of or borrow from or even have a likeness to each other, for sure.
Well, I'm trying to associate with something that I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of Lord of the Rings and Dune. If you really dive into it, there's a lot of similar lore that like feeds into each other, but we're not going there right now.
All right. The reaction that they got from the little gecko, the AI gecko.
Yeah.
Everyone freaked the fuck out.
Well, I mean, so that's something else that they very quickly skim over in the very beginning.
Yeah, that was like the first 30 seconds, like a montage of history lessons.
Yeah, so they basically use it as a way to say that history history is written by the victor, is what they basically open up with that. But they use the fight against AI, their something jihad, I forget the exact name of it, that they do against the thinking machines and wipe them off of existence. Because what ends up happening is Skynet, right? It's like the Terminator movie basically happens in their universe.
Thank you for that. Because you mentioned about the Ragnar dude, right?
Oh yeah, Travis Fimmel. He's talking about
Scar.
on his face, yeah.
So, based on that information that you gave me,
Yeah.
and the whole AI gecko thing, he didn't kill the gecko intentionally. He stopped it.
Okay.
And he was able to do the whole meltdown thing to two different people.
One was not even in the room. Matter of fact, she was across the universe from him.
So what if he is like a Terminator?
That's a very good possibility. However, the only thing I would think that might counter that is that in the holo clip that the Emperor watches towards the end of the episode, you very clearly see his character get swallowed by Shai-Hulud, one of the giant worms. And so Shai-Hulud and the planet of Arrakis is not necessarily like technologically advanced. They're very much nomadic people, desert people, right? So I don't think that there's a connection where him getting eaten by a giant worm would bring him back as a Terminator. What I'm thinking is happening is
He was saved. Hybrid.
so there's a class of people that we have not been introduced to in Prophecy, but we are introduced to in Children of Dune and others, like previous series. But they're called like face changers. They're skinwalkers, basically. And there's also golems, which you haven't been introduced to yet either.
Yeah, this is all new information.
So a golem is a clone of a person, and they can actually insert that person's memories into them, right? So you can make like a replica of someone using a golem, right? So the Spacing Guild is partners with a group of, to type they're called. They're a group of people who are proficient in this. And so it could either be a face answer, so he could be someone who's like an assassin but has the ability to wipe his face, much like you would be familiar with the Faceless Men. Or it could be a golem that was created, and then because he was created artificially, they inserted something into him that allows him to do these things.
Okay, so a golem in like Jewish lore is something that was artificial, man-made, right?
It was like mud or something, right? Made of mud.
Like clay.
Yeah, clay.
And with the runes, it give powers, that type of stuff. But in a primitive society, technology looks like magic, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So he could still be AI and still be a golem, and those two statements would be accurate.
I'm interested to see where it goes. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Where do you think it's going to go? What is going on with the huge scar on his face? Do you think he's part machine? Is he created? Because we clearly see him get eaten by the giant worm, which I don't think anybody survives. So I'm not really sure what goes on there, but we'll see.
That's a lot of teeth.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of that meme yesterday.
I didn't see it.
The one I was telling you about, Taylor Swift is for women who give teethy head.
Oh, now you told me about it. That's why I don't remember it. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's funny.
All right. So I don't really have too much to talk about this. I am more lost and confused than anything right now.
Well, do you want me to just run through the episode, or do you want to ask me questions so you can understand, so that moving forward you can know what's going on?
Run through it the way you saw it, because you've got more of the history of all the other Dune shit.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask questions, I guess.
All right. So basically what it's doing, it's establishing the universe, right? So we have the Great War that we do, which is I can't say the word, but Volturian Jihad, which is basically the war against the thinking machines when men rose against them. So they wipe out everything that's smart. No more smart technology. Can't have it. It's literally banned. It's forbidden, outlawed. So what they do is they start training an entire generation of human beings to be like thinking computers. They're called mentats, right?
Yeah, we saw them in the other one.
All right. So we're introduced to that instead. So basically they crunch numbers. They're very valuable people because they are basically a walking computer, right? As close to as they can be. So then because we no longer have AI suppressing us and doing all these things, we have mentats that are built to kind of make up for what AI was doing for us with the thinking and the computing. Then we established the Spacing Guild, which runs on spice, which makes spice the highest commodity in all the universe. Number one thing you could have. If you own the spice, you own everything. You have control, which is why the planet of Arrakis and their giant worms is so valuable, right? It is the goose that lays the golden egg. It is that thing in the universe because it has all the spice. Spice is never created without the giant worm. And the giant worm doesn't live off of Arrakis. It's very hard. They try a couple of times, but it doesn't live very long. So they try to put a great white shark in an aquarium. It just dies, right? So you now have the Spacing Guild, which controls all travel through the universe, but also allows commerce, merchants, all these different things to exist. So it's great, but it also establishes a central power with the Emperor. And so you have the Emperor, who is, what the hell? What are their last names? Starts with a C. I can't think of it right now. So much going through my head, I can't think of the name. Anyway, it'll come to me. But they are the royal family, and they're on Seleucus Secundus, which is like now the home of the imperial world, right? So it's the center of power in the universe now. And so because of this, and because of the establishment of power and everything that's going on, one of the truthsayers who fought inside of the major battle, she decides that she need to establish these truthsayers and put them into these different houses and basically create a genetic pool. And she gets this great idea, right? She starts the breeding process, the breeding plan.
Yeah, they brush over that so quickly, though.
Yeah. Well, because by the time you see her, she's like a young woman fighting, and then all of a sudden she's an old lady running everything.
So, but at the very beginning, it's 10-year jump, 30-year jump. Oh, by the way, 10,000 years. Which number was for what now?
Yeah.
It was all within 10 seconds.
So it breaks it down. It lets you know 30 years in the future, and then it goes 10,000 years before the birth of Paul Atreides, and then it's 100 and something years after the war with the machines. So it gives you a place where you are in the timeline. It's not giving you 3 different times. It's letting you know based on the different movies or different canon you may have watched where you currently sit.
Yeah, it didn't help me at all.
Okay. So you are currently,
I don't know the timeline.
you're about 100 years past the Great War. You're 30 years past the first use of the voice and the woman stabbing herself in the neck. But you're still 10,000 years away from the movies that we watched most recently that HBO has.
Okay, and so when the woman stabbed herself in the neck, that little key card for the secret room for the genetic altering, that's what that was, right?
Right, that gives you access to basically like the universal sperm bank, if you want to look at it that way.
Okay.
It's the genetic material. So that establishes like where we are. And so we have these great houses that basically I would think become as great and as noble as they are because of the way that they fought in the war, right? So to history go, like the spoils go to, I keep fucking that up every time I try to say it, but history is written by the victor is what I'm trying to say. And so according to history, the Great War was won by Atreides, but Harkonnen believes it was them. But in history, the Harkonnens were deserters, basically. And so her goal is to save her family name and destroy the House of Atreides. And that starts 10,000 years before we see the fight that we see on Arrakis.
It's gonna take me a few episodes, I think, to get calibrated back into this universe.
So what you're seeing now is the birth of the Bene Gesserit and like the start of how these things are coming to power the way we see them today in the movies. And so you have these 2 major houses. The House Carino came to my head, the C word, is House Carino, who they're now marrying off to this other house because they need their ships to control the Golden Goose, Arrakis.
So Carino is the one with the child or the older woman who is marrying the child?
Older woman.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're House Carino. They're the emperor. She's the princess. She's like the shit, right? And so she wants to marry that little kid because she doesn't have to do anything with him for a long time until he becomes of age, right? And by then she'll be so powerful with Bene Gesserit, she'll just control him. So that's kind of what her goal is, I think. She never has any plans to be with him. She's always going to manipulate him.
Listen here, you little shit.
Exactly.
That was so funny. That kid was like, duh.
She switched like that, which was pretty cool to see. But anyway, that whole thing's being established, and it's all just a power play. And the Bene Gesserit are kind of controlling what they want to see in the background. As you saw, they were having their secret conversation while they were having their conversation. And then ultimately, what the Bene Gesserit said is what came to fruition because she has the Emperor's ear, right? And so she's just like, hey, I know you're upset. He absolutely is trying to make you look like a fool, but we need him, and he's going to get his just desserts very soon. So let's play this out. And so he goes, okay, let's do it.
Sure, half an hour later, he's dead.
Yeah, so that all worked out for getting his ships and getting what he needed. So the wedding goes on, right? And he even is willing to overlook the discretion of the lizard later on when the little boy has the lizard pop out and run around.
I feel like he was swayed.
How do you say?
Because he just had this weird look on his face, and it's, whoop, I'm getting thoughts downloaded.
You think?
Yeah.
Because where were they getting downloaded from?
No, well, I mean swayed by one of the whisper people, whatever.
She wasn't there.
There was a bunch of them in the room.
Were there?
Yeah, this was during the vampire, right after he stabbed the lizard, is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because the other guy's like, surely we're not going to let this tiny little thing ruin everything that we did. And he thought about it, and she kind of did the little whisper thing to him, and he's, yeah, sure, we'll let it go for now.
I don't think so. Okay. Because I remember that scene being his wife trying to sway him.
Like I said, I'm confusing all those weird white women. So yeah.
Well, she doesn't wear anything black.
Okay.
She's not in black at all.
I don't know which one you.
But she's the one that's directly confronting him and trying to get him to destroy the lizard and take action against that family. And then he looks her in the eyes, and for a minute you think he's going to listen to her, because she earlier said, you don't respect me, you don't listen to me anymore, you only listen to the truth sayer. And the truth sayer, I believe the truth sayer isn't in there at that point, because I thought because she wasn't there, and because of that conversation they had, and because of the way the wife was looking at him, he was going to make a stupid decision and actually attack that family and to do something about it.
Is the stupid decision?
No. It's the political one, which is what he did. He made the political decision to keep the peace, keep his ships, and deal with it later. So instead of making a big scene out of it. So I thought that was smart, but maybe let us know in the comments. We remember that scene very differently, but you also don't have a sense of who the characters are yet.
Yeah.
So you could just be thinking one person is not that person.
Correct. I agree. That's what I'm saying. There's too many characters and too many faces in this right now for me to isolate who's who at the moment.
So one of the bargaining chips that Duke uses is the fact that they just recently lost a bunch of their spice stuff that they had on Arrakis, right? The excavators, one of the things that they were the extractor, a ship, they lost a bunch of stuff. And the lone survivor of that is the Travis Fimmel character, right? So I think that we have a couple different things going on there. One, he's starting to allude to the fact that it wasn't the Fremen, which is the natives of Arrakis. It was other houses coming in and actually trying to create anarchy and usurp him.
The Fremen, that was Zendaya's.
Yeah, no, she's Fremen. Yeah, she's actually one of the Fremen warriors, but Fremens are all of them, the whole culture. And so they have that. We have some sort of contention or insurgency going on that we're not really sure about. But we also have the fact that he came back from the dead, as we talked, basically, or is maybe not himself. So maybe there's whoever's controlling him or wherever he's coming from has ulterior motives to try to usurp and take over everything. Because right now he's attacked the Duke's son, and by proxy he's killed a Bene Gesserit who wasn't directly in care of him, which I thought was weird, right? Because she took care of the royal family. It wasn't that Duke's Bene Gesserit that got burnt up. So there was an intention there.
You think so?
Yeah, she had to be picked somehow. She had information, or she was going to do something that was going to directly hurt his cause.
Well, you also mentioned that she was backtracking for what she was doing. She was caring more for the family than her duty at some point. Maybe that's got something to do with it?
Yeah, but that would make sense if the kid that got burned was one of the royal family. But he was just a duke from another royal house. A kid from the duke from another royal house.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know either. I thought that was kind of weird.
He wants to insert himself to be...
Well, he asked for a job in the palace. So he wants to be close to the royal family at all times. So he's got something going, some agenda going on there.
So he's creating a problem that he's uniquely able to help protect against, even though he's the cause.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's normal spy stuff.
It seems to me like his goal is to create some sort of anarchy and disrupt things right now. Because he said, your sacrifice will not be in vain. So his target was not the boy. His target was the Bene Gesserit. It was just by proxy, he used the boy. But we don't understand yet how he can do that. So I think that's really where the confusion comes from.
There was this weird triangle thing on the boy's head, but not... It glowed underneath his skull. Did you see that?
No, I didn't catch that.
So when the boy was melting, this weird triangle thing on his forehead to top of the head started to glow. It was like a triangle. I don't know.
I know that it was also either it was hurting the Travis Fimmel's character, or it was he didn't want to see what he was doing to the boy, because he kept going like this and grabbing that part where it's the big incision.
Yeah, he looked like he was struggling.
It hurts to do what he did. Yeah, it hurts him physically to do it.
I don't know.
I guess it causes him pain to use that ability.
We're speculating a whole lot. What do you guys do?
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. We're in speculation territory for sure.
So I guess that's all I really have to know or say about the first episode. I might have to watch it again. I don't want to, but I may need to in order to catch everything.
We're really just laying the foundation for the universe right now. So
6 episodes, right?
yeah, which may cause some issues, because if we're already at a very slow start with episode 1, we're gonna have either some huge gaps in things,
Or overload.
or yeah, we're gonna have story rush, which is not gonna be fun either. Or we're just gonna like leave us on a cliffhanger, like a mid-season cliffhanger.
I swear to God, if they're doing this because they want to do 6 episodes and then say at the end of it, oh, this is just part 1. Now wait till next year.
So they did with Yellowstone season 5.
Is it?
They dropped 8 episodes, and then they're like, oh, part 2, episode 9, 10. Yeah, they just dropped it. Aaron's super into it, so that's all I know.
They just did the same thing with American Horror Stories. Last year it ended on 5, and then last month I was like, oh, new American Horror Stories are out. But it still says it's part of the same season, even though it's a year later. I'm like, the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the writer's strike stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so really we're just learning like power struggles, we're learning who people are, we're learning backstories, we're learning about the universe. It definitely paid homage to the movies several times, which I thought was cool. And, you know, we've got a lot to unpack as we move forward. So I'm super excited to keep going with it, keep watching the videos, keep chatting with you about them, keep sharing them with everybody. And we'll be dropping another video on Friday, because we're going to be doing 2 videos a week now.
So last thought for me, because even though it was really slow, it did feel like it tied up nicely and made me want to watch the next episode with the hook at the end of them burning.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was slow. I'm also interested because I'm very into this Dune universe. But let us know in the comments. Was it slow for you? Are you hooked? Are you excited? How are you feeling about episode 1 so far? We'd love to know your guys' opinions. If you guys enjoyed this episode, we actually have an entire other playlist of one of our most watched series right here, as well as our last video that we just did right below it. It was our season finale for Bad Monkey. It's still trending really high, so people are loving it. I bet you will too. So go check those videos out. And as always, subscribe to the channel and comment below to enter to win our $50 gift card, which the winner will be announced the first week of December by Liam, live on the channel. And who wouldn't want another extra $50 in their pocket rolling into the holiday season? I know it'll help out in a lot of different ways. So with that, we'll see you guys on those videos. My name is Chris, as always.
Confused Liam this time.
And we'll see you guys on the next video.
Find the strength hiding in each battle scar. You're not who you were, you've already come far.